Hey everyone, Razzbowski here, and welcome back to Theory Thursday. This week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be diving into possible gameplay mechanics because we've only got a few weeks until the upcoming release of the Sister Location. As we've seen in the trailer, we've got some sort of partial free roam, so we're going to be discussing this. Who have we got this week, boys?
You've got, of course, Ryan.
The Ryan.
Dorko.
I'm hyped as hell, baby. If you are hyped as well, then please hit that like button. It really is appreciated. Let's shoot for 8 to 7 beautiful likes, and we'll dive straight in, baby. Woo!
So the first thing I want to actually mention is the fact that Scott said this is going to be unlike any FNAF game we've seen to date. Now, most of the time, we don't have much free roam other than looking side to side, or I guess you could kind of class FNAF 4 as a partial free roam because we did go from one end of the room, technically to one of the doors. Still not really proper free roam, though. However, in this one, Scott's more veering towards that this game looks like it's going to be a lot more free roam based, and the mechanics are going to involve more turning around, just more movement in general. Guys, what do you actually think to that?
Yeah, see, the thing is, like, we've actually discussed the free roaming mechanics, but we haven't actually thought about them in, like, how he's presented them, like the map layout and stuff like that. Like, obviously in FNAF 4 we had 2 doors and a bedroom behind it, well, a bed behind us, and that's kind of limited, like, you're in one room. But this time around it's going to be kind of like Sophie's Curse, in which you're actually moving around the establishment, and it just goes to show that there's going to be a lot of, like, certain rooms that do certain things, and there's going to be mechanics that make you go to one room and then make you go to another room, and obviously there's the danger of being killed by each of the animatronics at the same time.
Oh yeah, he's definitely upped his game in the sense of exploration around the location. If you look at the map, we've got various different rooms there, but there isn't a central point as such. You've got the control module, that is where we're probably going to be sitting for different parts of the night, and we've already discussed how there's potentially cameras up around the top of the room that mean you can have a look at the room surrounding you, and you can choose whether you want to go north, south, east, or west, and depending on your decision, different things happen. So it's going to be partial free roam in the sense that you'll be able to go to different rooms, but once you're in the room, you probably have to do a certain task, and that will probably have you sitting stationary where you can look left, right, up, or down, and then press the buttons that we've seen, the one with the light, and you've got the what looks to be like a lightning bolt or power switch there. And the main reason I'm thinking this is you've got a breaker room way across to the left-hand side of the map. I think we're going to have to go in there, and it's going to be a very specific reason if the power goes off or whatever. And we've discussed this before. If we do leave in the elevator at the end of the night, because that is another thing. We've physically seen ourselves in the elevator. We've physically seen us, what looks to be moving through vents, and we've seen ourselves in the other room that in the trailer that's the flashing lights are going off, and we've got the little magician character. So this is just proving to us that he's changed things up, and it's going to be scary as hell moving from one to the next.
Yeah, like Raz said, I think there's going to be tasks what we need to do, because I don't think we're just going to have the choice to just stay in the control module room and just chill in there and defend ourselves. That would be like, it'd be like the player would be just lazy. You will have to go out of this office because you need to, like, regain power or something. Maybe these light switches, you need to keep the animatronics away, and maybe you run out of power. So you have to go and restore the power back or something like that.
Yeah, if we actually look at the map that we've seen, of course, on Scott Games, if you put in the secret code, it actually looks really interesting, and we can see the primary control module on IndieDB2. Now, if we actually link those two images together, we can imagine almost that the image we're seeing of the control module is perhaps in the direction north of the map too. So perhaps we've got the Funtime Auditorium to our right and the Ballora Gallery to our left, and there is a vent underneath what looks to be the ventilation system, and maybe that's a way to also get through to the circus control unit, which also has all the flashy lights, and it's telling us for some reason to step away from the glass. But there is these two alternative routes. Maybe we can look like left and right in the primary control module to look at the Funtime Auditorium and also the Ballora Gallery. But, you know, it just doesn't seem like there's much of a camera system here. It seems like fixed almost positions. And as you can see in the top corner, like, of the control module, all these screens seem to be kind of like just white noise. There's not really a picture that we're seeing here.
You could possibly have, like, a little iPad to check the cameras as well.
Perhaps the hood elements haven't been incorporated just yet. Yeah. The only thing, though, that contrasts that is the fact that there is a cursor on the screen of the control module.
Yeah. I think if something's gone wrong during the night, or perhaps if you haven't completed a task, or somebody's maybe jamming the cameras, because we've already talked about Ennard potentially being a virus or taking over everything or whatever. Imagine he has jammed the system for the cameras. Then you're sort of flying blind, which again would be an interesting way to increase your fear factor, because if you can no longer see what's going on to your left, right, up or down, then you're gonna have to sort of guess which way to go, and that could obviously land up with a game over.
I was gonna say, like, you got to think about if there is no camera system, how scary it will be when you kind of hear something from another room. Like maybe, you know, in like every FNAF game, you kind of know you're going to die at one point. It's like you go to one room and it's like, oh no, I have to go back, and it's just the fear of clicking to go forward and then knowing that something's just gonna jump out on you. I think lack of camera system would be like much more scarier, to be fair.
Scott's proved himself that you don't need a camera system in a FNAF game as well, because of FNAF 4, where we solely based our judgments on sound.
Yes. And I thought that was really good, and it's like, you know, going off the idea of sound, imagine if you have to make this break to the breaker room, you fix the electronics, everything seems to be working good, and then you hear a big smash. Maybe that's why it's in step. And then you got to go in that room, like you've got to see what just smashed. And I think another thing that makes me think maybe there won't be much of a camera system in terms of like the tablet and the way we've seen it before. If you look at the I See You teaser image, where of course we've got the Funtime Freddy in the back, that is not the positionment of a camera. Cameras are typically on like an upwards position, looking down, so you can see more of a landscape. That to me looks like possibly the height of someone who's about 5-6 foot, and you can see the animatronics in the darkness there, so it's almost like they're walking from that way to the other way. So you know, it's going to be interesting, and whether or not there's a camera system, I think if there isn't one, it will be even more scary, because then you have no idea what really lurks at each of the different destinations. And like, it just makes you think as well, these 2 secret rooms, that means we'd have to go into them. Maybe they've got like a padlock on or something. Scott's always done things like 1987 as an Easter egg. We got to find like a code, or we see it in one of the cameras, or by doing something, and then we can enter these rooms. What these rooms will actually give us, I mean, who really knows? We've still got to find that out.
I think, like, as well, because obviously in FNAF 4 he had Foxy getting into your room. You had to prevent Foxy from getting in, whilst at the same time keeping the other animatronics at bay. So I think that maybe Ennard, or whoever it is who's going to smash this glass, is going to pay havoc to us, basically. And we're going to have to try and prevent them from doing that, whilst at the same time maintaining everything else. But if you do let him in, it makes everything about 3 times as hard. And 3 times as scary.
There is still like a chance you can win, but maybe your options become a lot more limited, and that's where maybe in like the later nights, that's where it can catch you off, sort of thing.
What it's looking like at this point is he's going to combine elements from each one of the games, as we've said, in the control module, if he has the cameras around the top of the thing, and they're not necessary, but they're going to help you. Again, obviously we've heard or we've seen, we did hear when Ballora was talking in the voice clip, how she's like, is somebody in the room, and her eyes are closed. So obviously then you've got you're watching the cameras, you're listening for Ballora, and then you'll probably have other factors in there as well, as you said, if somebody comes through the glass and makes things a little bit more difficult for you. If you do have to go and solve the task in the breaker room to turn the power back on, for instance, then he's putting all these elements into the one game, and it's just going to make it that much scarier. It's going to be, that's terrible grammar, it's just going to be more scary.
You got to think as well how many animatronics are in this game, and I think he's going to make some of the animatronics only in a single room, what Raz just said. So maybe Ballora's just going to stay in there forever. And that's what the mechanic is. You go to the breaker room, but you have to avoid Ballora first before you turn the power back on or something, because it seems like it would be really hectic if all the animatronics are just targeting you all at once. So I think they're all going to have different mechanics in different rooms, and maybe some of them are going to be trying to get us, like, while we're walking
actively
around.
So some are actively coming for your booty.
What Raz said as well about all of the old mechanics being in this game, it's kind of cool how Scott could have hinted that in the Sister Location trailer, where he introduced all of the first games. So maybe he's hinting like all these games are going to be this combined, and it's going to be the best one yet.
I think it's going to be amazing. Like, as you guys were saying about like the circus character, I think a big part of that is going to be the fact that we've got what appears to be from the control module to the circus control, that vent system. So I think if maybe the circus gallery, it says step away from the glass. If that glass is broken, that means there is a way for the baby character to actually enter the circus control room.
Yep.
And then the vent's there, and we have the primary control module, but I mean, it's just then going to wreak havoc, and there's just going to be, I think that's where the difficulty is going to definitely come in. And like, I mean, we haven't even had a chance to properly discuss as well this parts and services, because that's a totally new thing as well. And I just, at the minute, it is starting to get a bit mind-boggling. But when you think about it in your head, I don't think Scott is going to overload us with all these different things that we have to do. I think he's going to balance them out in such a way. And I can see how this game, and looking at the map as well, you can almost judge where you can and can't move to and from. And I think just by looking at it, you can get a sense that this game's probably going to be very balanced, and it's going to require skill as opposed to just kind of relying on a bit of luck.
So next up, we're going to be discussing, can the animatronics get you in every single room, or are they going to be confined to the one room? What do you think, boys?
Yeah, like we discussed earlier about Ballora's mechanic, I think Ballora's going to definitely stay in that room. Because the audio clip as well, it seems like we're intruding in that room. It's not like Ballora's coming after us. It's like we're in her room and she's like, what's going on? As well, maybe some of the definitely not Funtime Freddy, because in the picture, I was just about to contradict myself then, but we saw a picture of Funtime Freddy and it looks like he's roaming around. So maybe Funtime Freddy or Babe, I definitely think Baby's going to be roaming around. BIDYBAB possibly as well.
Ballora will definitely. We've even seen the teaser where she's not on stage.
Well, no. You're talking about the mini arenas.
Or it might have been Ballora. I mean,
well, we don't know, do we? We don't know yet. Stop it.
They say get back on your stage now. I can see Ballora, the one we see in the trailer, potentially being on the stage the whole time, just so it doesn't make it easy to get to the breaker room. Because the breaker room seems to hold a significance. I can see the mini arenas coming off the stage and then making it more difficult for you to move around that room.
Yeah.
So they can leave the stage potentially. That's why you're in the control module. You've got the little panel to the left-hand side of the image that we've got. You think you can see it just sneaking a little peek in the bottom corner. I think you can turn the light on, see what's going on. You can make them scurry back onto the stage, and then you have a free run at the room. Whereas if they're already in the place and it's a dark room, and you just might bump into one of their beautiful R34 figures and a fanfiction spawned.
There's like 3 or 4 on the stage as well. I doubt that all 4 are going to be after us as well with the BIDYBABs and all. What? With all the other animatronics as well. You know, it just seems a bit too hectic. Maybe one of them's going to be activated and not all of them, or something like that. Like I said before, maybe Ennard chooses just one of them to try and wreck us.
It's like, I think as well, the way this is going to work, and we've kind of briefed over this as well before, saying how there's going to be a lot more suspense if we're walking to and from each destination. So if we go and we spoke about Baby possibly smashing through the circus control unit and getting through that ventilation, and I guess it could almost be like the reverse. Can you imagine, you feel like you've done everything super successful, everything's the same, and then you look to your left and you realize that the window for the Funtime Auditorium or the door, whatever's there, is actually open. Then you look back and you kind of just know that one of them's in the room or one of them is misplaced and somewhere where they shouldn't be. And it just makes you think as well, is there going to be a way to lure them back out? So perhaps because there is 3 different ways they can come at you at once, and if you're in the circus control, that's 2 of your flank routes pretty much left wide open, which is going to make it challenging.
I was thinking about the switches on the left to right. There's a switch on the left and there's right to left. Maybe there's doors. So maybe you can go to this door and then quickly shut that one and the next one and shut it, so you trap them in the room or something like that. Because it seems a bit weird that there's going to be a power switch on the left and right. Why would you need that?
What it looks like is you've got the we've already discussed the Ballora gallery, but if you do go through the vent to the north to the circus control room, then it looks like, because you got the little black where you got the little box outline there, that looks like it's going to have some sort of panel, which is the one, if I'm right, the one with the flashing lights with the little magician sort of character. Remember that room, because we've not seen that anywhere else yet. But that looks like it's looking out onto something. Because it looks like a big glass thing. I think that's the circus control. I can't remember if it was named or 100%. Not. So you've got that there. So you've obviously got to do a certain task there with all the buttons that are in front of you. If you don't do that task in a certain amount of time, then the BIDYBABs, etc., get out. come through the vents, or Baby gets around out some sort of way. I think in the Funtime Auditorium, I think Funtime Freddy and Funtime Foxy are going to be able to roam around that room some way. Yeah. Because as you said, we've seen Funtime Freddy moving around. I think Foxy is going to do the same thing, but a different mechanic. He rushed us before, so maybe he's going to have his different poses and then just comes for you, and maybe Freddy teleports like he did in the other game. And obviously you have to get past them to get to the parts and service room, so whatever's in that room is going to work the same way as the Ballora auditorium gallery, and you've got to get to that room and complete a task, whether it's for an Easter egg, which would be interesting that you have to get past them for an Easter egg, or if it's just for general gameplay mechanics. Yeah.
I just want to contradict myself again. The two power switches on left to right, there might not be doors, there might be light switches so you can see through the doors instead.
I was just about to say, I think those little power switches there might have the same property of like FNAF 1, where you turn the light on each one and you can press the power button to shut the door. Maybe there'll be downwards doors, which will then explain why if the power goes off, you go back up and then you're left vulnerable. I think that's how they're going to work, which is going to be like kind of back to the cores of FNAF, and I kind of want that. I kind of want that, to be honest.
And it shows again the difference, because if you're having a look at the map schematic, you've got actual door, you've got the white lines that are showing doors, and then you've got the difference with the vents, and we can clearly see vent moving in the trailer, and we can clearly see the vent in, or basically the vent underneath that big fan in the main control module.
Well, who's to say there won't be hallucinations as well? Think about it, like maybe like, rather than someone else like distracting, well, maybe rather than like another animatronic coming to distract you, you're actually faced with hallucinations, so you don't know what's real and what's actually fake.
Well, we kind of spoke before about this whole concept that maybe when Scott referenced the gas leaks in this place, maybe that was going to be a hint towards potentially maybe if you're in the control module for too long, there might be a gas leak. You've got to go to the circus control to get away from that. Maybe on that little panel you can then put in a code to stop the gas from leaking. There might be something like that. Then you can go back, so maybe that's going to be a way as to why there's two rooms. So one's almost like a safe room if you're in the gas too long, because he's always wanted to use something like that. There's always been like the toxic meter, and he never has had really a chance to.
And you've got to have something to stop you from camping out. Like, I think one thing is the breaker room, and maybe potentially something is in the parts and service room to help you fix something. Maybe something goes wrong, wires are pulled out, or something similar, and you've got to go to the parts and service to pick up a spare something, or a screwdriver to undo a panel or something. I'm doing this very broad and very generic terms, but you get the idea. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That was another exciting episode of Theory Thursday. This week we discussed possible free roam mechanics, or at least partial free roam mechanics. I know we didn't mention the secret rooms or the elevator, but at the moment the secret rooms are, as they suggest, secret, and the elevator, well, we're probably going to start the night off there, and I would like to see us ending the night off there. I think that would be absolutely perfect. If you guys have any ideas or theories or thoughts or any opinions, then let us know down in the comment section below. We, as always, we love to read each and every single one of them. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button, and if you're new around here, subscribe to any one of our channels. The boys' links, including the 8-Bit Ryans, their individual channels, they will be in the description below as well. But either way, guys, we've only got one more Theory Thursday before the sister location is released, and I am hyped out the ass, baby. I've been Razzbowski, you've been the beautiful bastards as always for watching, and I love each and every single one of you. Goodbye.